Harvey Elliott's future at Liverpool is uncertain with Wirtz arriving, Szoboszlai's position you'd like to think nailed on, I'd like to say, and Slot demanding physicality in the midfield perhaps more than ever. There's no obvious role left for Harvey Elliott. So today we're going to look at the harsh reality of Elliott in this squad and where he fits in. We're going to look at Brighton's system and how Brighton could actually suit him better. By the way, Brighton are the team who have come in for Harvey Elliott, supposedly with a potential bid, maybe being placed in the next couple of days, of £40 million. So Brighton will focus specifically on, but this is relevant for any team who come in for Harvey Elliott. And I just think there is an offer that Liverpool, if they get, they just need to take. There's a point where loyalty gets overridden by a great offer, and that for me is beep. I'm going to blur up my offer until later, and we'll talk about it later. Welcome back to the George Scaife LFC channel. Where would he actually play, firstly, Harvey Elliott, in this new kind of, I say new slot team? I suppose it is, because there's a few new players coming in now. I think Wirtz certainly shakes things up, these more attacking fullbacks as well. So the most realistic slot joke right there. He's our manager, and he's also in my sentence for slot. Anyway, the most realistic positional play is right central midfield or right attacking midfield, because he's too slow to be a winger, let's be real. And I think all his best work for Liverpool has come perhaps in the more central areas, maybe on the right-hand side. But that's Szoboszlai's zone, and I'd like to think Szoboszlai's done enough to not get dropped. Like, we're bought for 60, 70 million quid. He's not going to get dropped, in my opinion, straight away, or at least it won't be an easy decision for Arne Slot. I would start Szoboszlai. I think he'll start next year. He's done enough last year for me to start, definitely. But I can't see a future with Elliot as the number 10, with Wirtz coming in. I can't see a future of him on the right-hand side at midfield with Szoboszlai there. I can't see a future, certainly, on the left-hand side. He's never really played there, and McAllister's there. It's like, where on earth is he going to get in this team to start with? But I don't actually think we're all thinking he'll start. I think we're all thinking we should keep him to maybe play off the bench and come on and impact games off the bench. We'll talk about that in a minute. But then again, you look at the competition. It's like, okay, if he comes off the bench, I've spoken about Szoboszlai, I've spoken about Wirtz, he'll rotate across the attacking midfield roles. Jones and Gravenberch. He's like, well, Gravenberch obviously starts. Jones, Bajcetic is now in the mix. Is he going to start over them, kind of in the cup games? You'd like to think maybe he'll start with them. But certainly for me, he's not going to come off the bench instead of Jones. He's not going to come off the bench in a defensive role in a six. Definitely, he's not his position. So where's his role in this team? I think Slot's shown this year that he's preferred Curtis Jones a lot more than Elliot. I know Elliot had his fair share of injuries and struggled to get in the team and be consistent. But Jones, when he's come in, has done all right. I think there's been some games this year he's done very well. The Chelsea game is probably our best player, I'd say. He scored that day. So in that regard, he's competing with a fellow Englishman there. He's not got the better hand in the game, in my opinion, in the game of, should we call it poker? Let's go poker. He's not got the best hand, and that, for me, yeah, I mean, look at this I've written down here. Elliot kind of offers that press resistance, the intensity. He's not very physical. He doesn't particularly win his duels in the same regard as a McAllister or a Gravenberch or a, maybe not Jones, or Szoboszlai. I mean, their FB ref, 158 out of 344. It's like the bottom 20 percentile in the Premier League in terms of duels won. And again, you've not got him in there to win his duels. He's there to create and maybe have that different angle, that cutting edge that maybe someone else, a Szoboszlai, doesn't particularly have. But you need it all. Like, in this slot side, you can't have someone who is more of a luxury player. I think Elliot is the more luxury player. I'm not branding him as one, but he's certainly more than Szoboszlai, he's more than McAllister. But in this slot side now, when you need to cover so much ground, you need to win your duels, and if you don't win it, you'll probably be done on counter because we've got so many fullbacks bombing on, or so many players forward on the pitch. Harvey Elliott isn't the guy putting his foot in there in them big games for me, and he's shown. I mean, he actually played with Curtis Jones in the back end of the season, and I thought it was awful when he played with Jones. And they're two players with perhaps similar attributes in terms of ball retention, press resistance, and they both can't particularly tackle, and in the ground duels they're not very good. But they do cover ground. I think they're both. I'm not denying their work rate or their attempt to, like, the will to win and get us over the line. They've both got that, but it's just about in a three. Is Elliot gonna? Is he going to complement the style of a McAllister and a Gravenberch with Wirtz in front? I don't think so. I don't think he really fits in this side. The midfield's already stacked with energy and profiles. There's no obvious repurposing unless Slot makes a tactical shift. We've seen some repurposing from Arne Slot and maybe the backroom staff, Heitinger, etc., moulding Gravenberch into a more defensive player. We've seen some repurposing, putting Diaz perhaps up front in more of a central role. Gakpo left wing. I mean, I suppose Klopp kind of started that, didn't he? And maybe the national team, etc. But Slot has done this before. Slot's moved players around, and I just question whether he's got maybe the pace, just the sheer pace. Let's dumb it down to the bare bones. A winger, you got to be quite quick. Beat your man, and Elliot isn't the quickest player of all time, but he's so good on the ball. He could be like maybe a Jack Grealish. I kind of look at that profile of a wide player who's not very quick. He can take a man on. He's very good at keeping the ball, but he can draw fouls. He can force errors from fullbacks. And I think Harvey Elliott can do that. He's not going to beat a man with a burst of pace, but he will. He's very intelligent in them little small compact zones, and I think he can get the better of fullbacks in that regard. But he's not going to play on the left. He's going to play on the right. If any wing, right? And Salah's there. He's not going to play every game. He's not going to start, certainly. So that's kind of out the door. He's not going to play as a false nine. He's not going to play. It's like, where the hell is his role? And it's the bench. And then when you look at the bench, it's like, well, where's his role on the bench? So how far are we going to go down the pecking order? And this is someone, right? We've spoken in the highest regard about Harvey Elliott for years now. It's always been, just give him like a year or two of regular game time, and he'll be one of our best players. I probably do believe that. I really do believe that. But where's that regular game time coming? Because it's not coming round here. It's not coming in this squad. We've won the league for a reason. Our midfield's very, very good. We've improved. We've strengthened on that team who won the league. He's got even less of a chance with Wirtz coming in. The best case scenario for me is cup games or chasing late on from the bench. I think he does offer that alternative angle that maybe a Curtis Jones does in the last 20 of a game. We've seen it maybe. The Crystal Palace, great example. He has got a goal in his game, whereas maybe Jones, on the whole, you've got to say, perhaps doesn't to his level. So if we need a goal, you bring Elliot on to maybe create something. I get that. But really, when you get £40 million from him, are you going to use him as a bench option, really, and halt his progression? It's not about what we need as well. It's about what Harvey Elliott needs. We'll speak now. What great timing. We'll speak about what Harvey Elliott needs. It's very important it goes both ways, this. Because whilst you may be thinking as a punter, as a fan, it'd be great to kind of have on the bench and that kind of thing. And I spoke about Robertson in the same regard. But I kind of took a step back from that video and I realised, hold on, what about Robertson? What does he kind of want? He's one of the most competitive guys I've ever seen on a football pitch. He don't want to be sat on the bench for Tsimikas, for Kirkus warming up his seat, you know what I mean? So it's about what he needs, Elliot, and maybe a Brighton move is the right move for him. And I think of all the Premier League sides that we've seen linked, maybe I think we saw Newcastle linked at one point, I think Brighton will be the best. I really do. And a £40 million bid rumoured is crazy, I'm saying. But we just got 35 for Kwanzaa? This ain't beyond the realms of possibilities. And I've put a picture of James Milner on here. I just think as someone who can like kind of mentor you into the squad, and not that he needs it, he's one of our, genuinely, like, he's not one of our senior players, of course. He's, 23, 22? But he's been there so long, Harvey Elliott. It's like, this guy's almost one of our senior players in disguise, you know what I mean? He does not need mentoring or coaching into a side. But it is nice to have James Milner as that cushion, that familiar face who he knows, as one of the more senior players at Brighton. Maybe that's a pull factor. I mean, I doubt it. I don't know how far these things go. Although, Wirtz did mention about Frimpong being a pull factor, didn't he, to Liverpool? I know it's a much bigger transfer. Also, I look at Trent to Real Madrid with Bellingham as that pull factor. Having some familiarities is there. Familiarity already there is good, right? And same with Kirkus and Szoboszlai, captain at national team. I assume they're mates. Finally, Slot's view. He doesn't dislike Elliot. I think that's a bit far. But in pre-season, he had a clear intention of playing him, kind of got injured, and then just never got back into the side, and Jones kind of took his space. He doesn't fit the system at all for me. We need kind of press, dominant, physical midfielders and not finesse kind of creators. Do you know what I mean? And that finesse kind of creator is what he is. And that's a specific profile we need for the last 20 minutes of a game. But bringing a player on for the bench, does that warrant a £40 million asset sitting on the bench when we could just offload the £40 million asset and get someone else to come off the bench for 20? It's like we've got some great attacking players. Gakpo can come off the bench and add. I think we're looking to improve and buy a striker. Jota's so good off the bench. Do we need Elliot perhaps as well? Maybe Nunes, if we can't shift Nunes. He's going to be a great asset off the bench, you'd like to think, as that unknown quantity. Do we need Elliot in that role? It's like there's no role at all for him. And with Wirtz here, Elliot's role only shrinks further. That's my thoughts anyway. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I think £40 million you absolutely have to take. You have to take £40 million for Elliot. Oh, I'm getting a message. Probably my mum. Don't worry, guys. I'm not that popular. Granted, the guy's got potential. Granted, he's been there a while. Wow, it's popping off in the group chat. Oh, mum, take the washing. Right, great. Granted, he's got potential. Granted, he's been here a while, and we're going to take maybe loyalties out of this a tad, because we all like the guy. I love him personally. However, £40 million, you take it and you run. Let's bring it. Let's strengthen this side and the first team, in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts down below. Subscribe if you enjoyed. Leave a like. Loads of videos. I'll link one down below for you to go and watch now. See you later. Bye.